This is the final meeting of a series of meetings that the committee has been working on over the past several months. Through the course of their study, they've examined several different options, reached out to the public to obtain feedback from the public, and invited them to look at maps and surveyed the public to get input. Had a lot of good input and information from them. And the committee just continued to focus on developing maps that best meet the objectives and guiding principles, knowing that no map is going to be perfect, and there will certainly somebody's going to have to be moved, and there will be people who are unhappy, and so they bring the recommendation with a heavy heart, knowing that that it's not going to make everybody happy, but they do feel like this recommendation is the best map that has been explored and considered, and the best map that's best for all children in New Hanover County. I think that the current attendance boundaries in New Hanover County were in need of some adjustment. There were a lot of what you call satellite areas that were scattered about. So there were a lot of inefficiencies in the current boundaries, and so I think it was understood that a lot of movement was going to take place to help clean things up and make things aligned with the different levels. I think that the recommendations looking at moving somewhere close to about 3,000 students. I think it's around 2,400 at the elementary and around 500 at the middle school level. And so it is moving a good number of students, but with that said, there's a new elementary school coming online, so that new elementary school is being populated, and then other adjustments to help make the boundaries more efficient as it relates to utilization of the schools and feeder patterns and major roads and things like that. With the board presentation, I plan on presenting an overview of the, of course, setting the stage with the objectives and the guiding principles, like I've done with every group that we've met with, talking about what work has been done to date, and to just reiterate the amount of hours that have been put into this and the amount of time and effort's been put in, as well as information from the public and all the input that's been received from the public. And then all that will sort of lead into the presentation of the recommendation. So we did make efforts to better the demographic diversity of the schools and working through this, and I think that there are some improvements that have been made. If you look at some of the before and after as it relates to free and reduced meals, schools are improved in terms of the percentage of free and reduced meals. But with that said, you have to also acknowledge that there's certain things that are out of our control, such as the communities and the composition of different communities and how many kids live in different communities and where the schools are located. So this committee did their best to make improvements in demographic diversity, but acknowledge that they could only go so far without deviating from the other guiding principles. The only other ways that we have examined through our study in this district that can further the demographic diversity and make it even better is by looking at measures that are outside of redistricting. Could be programs, and it could be also potentially be by incorporating busing zones or small enclaves that bus students out of their community, which is something that we don't, it's not typically explored. I'd like to say that I'm very proud of this committee and also the community in being as active as they have been and giving us input. It's not an easy task to do, and it's very emotional, but we did receive a lot of very good input from the public, and also this committee did a very hard job of moving boundary lines, and it's kind of a thankless task that they were tasked with doing, and very unpopular type of work. But they maintain their focus on the objectives and guiding principles, and I would just like to thank them for all of their hard work, as well as thank the public for giving us the input that they have.